Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. We are the middle-aged guys, and we bullshit about nothing. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Very mouse one.
Earlier this week, actually last week, there was another reported rumor that the Wii U was going to be discontinued, and that they were going to stop productions off of it as early as November 4th of this year. The funny thing about that is that this isn't the first time that that's popped up. Actually, earlier this year, back in March, I believe it was March 23rd, a similar report popped up, and it was going around mainstream media that Nintendo was going to discontinue the Wii U back in March. That was later refuted and proven to be wrong. But this particular rumor went ahead and it showed up again, and it was published out by Eurogamer all the way back on the 1st of November, and that basically they went out the other way and they said that there was an inside source, production source within Nintendo that was saying that the Wii U was going to halt production and that they were no longer going to make any consoles for it as of November 4th, hard date, full stop. And then the funny thing was that the next day Nintendo came out and they're like, no, that's not going to happen. And I know these particular rumors are going to show up all the time, but the funny thing is that it's funny when they actually get refuted. I think it's really funny. Guys, what are your thoughts on it? Because there was actually quite a few other interesting Nintendo tidbits, so I just want to go ahead and open up with this particular one and knock it out before we get to the real stuff.
Okay, look, we know that the Wii U is going to get phased out sooner or later, because then their next gen console is coming. But to even start the rumor that it's just going to be phased out immediately just because of the Nintendo Switch is showing up, no. Just no.
I'm pretty sure on my end that they probably still have supply or manufacturing supply that they have to sit there and go through. And it doesn't make sense for any sort of manufacturer at all for them just to go ahead and say, oh, hey, look, we've got all of these unused parts and components and boards and cases and other things. Fuck it. We're not going to put them together. Just go ahead and scrap the whole thing. No, that's usually not what's going to happen. Even if Nintendo themselves go ahead and they part it out off the Nintendo Store website for like pennies on the dollar, they'll probably prefer to go ahead and do that and then just discontinuing manufacturing altogether. What are your thoughts on it, Grey Mouse?
I'll just say, just wait for the official word before you make fucking asinine. Well, again, this is the screwed up gaming industry's media, lack of a better word. It's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, because throughout all the history, that systems are not suddenly fucking just stopped. It's more eased out, eased off the throttle. You didn't have Microsoft fucking hard stop the Xbox original. You don't have Microsoft hard stopping the Xbox 360
or the 60 still going,
or the PlayStation. You don't hear these big companies saying that, oh, there's a set date that this will. No. Usually you have to look it up on Wikipedia and when the system was fucking
already done.
Was done. Or you could be like fucking what's his name, Adam Boyes, and decide to say the Vita is a legacy system. That's the only time in recent history that a company has done something like that. But I digress. But yeah, no, you can't believe everything you read. And for Nintendo to set a date of all things, a hard date. Talk about we will no longer produce, the Wii U on this particular date. No, they're not going to do that, man. It's more of a quiet retirement for the systems. I don't ever recall. Do you recall a time when we knew when the system was going to come off the shelf?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. Even if they stop manufacturing and actually putting them together, the retailers are going to sell them until they're out of stock.
Exactly. That's the whole point. That's the point that I'm making. That no company it's going to tell their customers, we're going to stop production on this particular day. So, you know, every time I see those articles, and just like at the beginning of this video, we were all laughing while the Reverend was reading this fucking nonsense. It is what it is. And we're done here. There's nothing else to say. This is bullshit. No, don't believe what you read, especially at gaming media. You know, we already know how truthful those guys are.
Yeah, I mean, really, unless you hear it directly from the first party source, it's kind of hard to believe. I mean, you know, if you really want to go ahead and have an example of when that heartbreak is real, just think about Sega and the Dreamcast. Okay. That being said, this wasn't the only set of Nintendo news that was out there. Earlier this week, actually earlier in the month, Tatsumi Kimishima, who is the brand new president CEO of Nintendo, who took over for the late Satoru Iwata, he had an interview with Bloomberg. I believe, let me see here, I've got the article. His interview with Bloomberg Technology was done on October 28th, actually right at the end of October. And they asked him a few questions about, okay, so what's it like to be president of Nintendo after Iwata passed away and all of that, and other things. One of the things that they had to go ahead and they brushed up on is, of course, they brought up the Switch. They asked him, okay, so what do you think about the reception for the Switch and everything? And then they also asked, now that you've got a brand new console, you know, home console portable hybrid that's coming out, we know that Nintendo's always had a very commanding presence in the portable gaming market. Is there any plans at all to discontinue the 3DS? Of which Kimishima flatly said, no, we have no plans at all to discontinue the 3DS. Which some people have been predicting since the NX has come out or has been announced and is going to be coming out in March. I'm not one of those people. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? Because this is
no. And when the CEO, I mean, he took, in the same breath, he said no.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even let the person finish the question, pretty much. He said, no. That's, again, bullshit. I'm tired of this shit. Quit making news up. That's all you're doing. You know, why in the hell? Well, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. Maybe the Reverend can pull them. But the 3DS has sold millions.
Around 53 million units, more than the PS4.
Millions. And they're going to discontinue it?
Yeah.
What? That's asinine.
Yeah. I mean, within the technology, Bloomberg themselves, their actual question is, will you discontinue the 3DS? And his response right away was, thanks to our software, the 3DS is still growing. So that business still has momentum. And certainly rather than being cannibalized by the Switch, we think the 3DS can continue in its own form. So they have no plans at all to go ahead and discontinue the Switch. Theme, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, my God. I mean, they still got Pokemon Sun and Moon and you get all these games. No! Go ahead, man. I'm sorry, man.
No, okay? Look, listen. There has never been a time where a Nintendo Portable has officially called it fucking quits when something else has come out. Just like we discussed with the Nintendo Switch and then the Nintendo, okay, the fucking Wii U.
Yeah.
Just turning off production. No, damn it. Look. The Nintendo 3DS is the most successful thing that's out on the fucking market as far as gaming as we speak. Just as the Reverend and Grey Mouse just pointed out, which really doesn't make any fucking sense why anyone would say anything so fucking stupid. The 3DS, that's going to go the way to the fucking dodo just because the Nintendo Switch is coming out. Because the Switch is a portable and a console at one. But it's not a fucking portable. The 3DS is their portable. The 3DS is still selling. The 3DS is still making mountains of fucking cash for Nintendo.
You know,
it has great games.
You know, the problem is this. I bet you most of the negative feedback is what they culturally found that people are saying are people that want Nintendo to fail.
Wait, look. Again,
That's the only logical thing that I could think
you
of.
want Nintendo to fail as far as especially their portables? Then Microsoft and Sony make fucking portables, and Sony make a fucking better fucking portable that don't fucking try to eat our fucking cash out with $60 memory cards.
$120 memory cards.
Damn it. You want Nintendo DS or any of their portables to fail? Well, that's how to fucking do it. You come out with equal competition that's gonna be better than what they already fucking have out. Nintendo 3DS is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure right now, Switch or no Switch, Wii U or no Wii U, the 3DS right now is the only sure thing that the Nintendo has in their back pocket. Okay, and it's not going to go any place. I mean, like we had said previously, just a few moments previously, 54 million, 53 million units sold. I mean,
say that number again.
Yeah, 53 million, and I've got 2 of them.
53 million of these. I have 3 of them myself.
Yeah, I mean,
I have an XL. I have a 3DS.
Yeah.
I mean. This is a new 3DS.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing about it is that yes, it's going to have a limited lifespan. Its generation will pass, just like any other hardware generation goes. But it's not going to be phased out, at least for another 2 or 3 years, the way that it's going right now. And like I said, it is the only sure thing that Nintendo has in their back pocket. Okay. Yeah, so this particular one, is it surprising that Nintendo, that Kimishima went out of his way and declined that? No, not at all. In fact, it was one of those things where I think Bloomberg was just kind of asking the question just to get the answer out there in the ether, all right? To sit there and just say, hey, look, this is what Nintendo has said on record.
Well, wait, what were they expecting? Oh, well, now the 3DS is a legacy system.
No, they were trolling. Bloomberg was trolling.
Bloomberg.
No, you don't try to get them to say that the fucking 3DS
That's what I'm
the
saying.
Fucking legacy system.
Trolling. I really don't think that. I mean, I've read a couple of articles as well. I mean, even the middle-aged guys, we even questioned that. That the Switch. What are they going to do with the 3DS? I mean, I'm not saying that we were saying that it's going to be discontinued or anything, but and then a lot of people are asking, well, since the Switch is out there, is the Switch really a portable? Is that going to take over the portable?
No,
for the 3DS, and
no.
The answer is absolutely not. Not with all these games that are coming out, this month and next month and January. You got all these games coming out on the 3DS that it's not slowing anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You still have children out there with 3DSs, 2DSs, playing all kinds of things on them.
Yep.
So, no.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the stores that I go to that sell the 3DSs and the 2DSs, they're sold out. You'll maybe be lucky to see 1 or 2 sitting there. Seriously. In a retail store. It's like they sell.
Yeah. I mean, people still buy them. Yeah. I mean, it's slowed down, but so is sales for the PS4 has been almost non-existent over the last few months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see people going out of the way saying, oh, the PS4 is dead, but they're very quick to go ahead and go out of the way and say,
yeah.
So, but, aside from that hyperbole, because that's all it is that it is a lot of hyperbole. That isn't to say that this wasn't the only interesting thing out of the Bloomberg interview that they had with Kimishima. All right. One of the things that they talked to Kimishima about was whether or not Nintendo would explore other enhanced capabilities or enhanced options with the Switch, like virtual reality.
Oh.
And Kimishima was very upfront about it. Okay. To quote from the interview, Bloomberg asked Kimishima, what's your view on virtual reality? His response was, Miyamoto has talked about this several times. In other words, Shigeru Miyamoto is also their creative director over there, who has a lot of input in the actual design and implementation of technologies for consoles and portables. That's the reason why he mentioned it here. Miyamoto has talked about this several times. It's not that we're uninterested. In fact, we have a lot of interest. VR offers the experience of playing in a new way, but that depends on the software and how you use it to play, especially when it comes to games. And beyond games, it also applies to other non-game things, so it's something to look forward to. Will Switch have VR capabilities? Are you developing VR that will connect to the Switch? Kimishima continued on to respond, if you asked as if this might be possible in the future, certainly we can't say no. In terms of how it can be used for gaming, it's something we must consider. It depends on the system specifications. I can't say that we have no interest in VR because VR offers new ways of playing, but that depends on what kind of software can be played. But what kind of software works, that's only something you only know once you actually experience. And our games are ones that are usually played for a long time. And if you've ever heard Miyamoto's feedback about virtual reality and the stuff that he's tried out, his biggest thing is, look, when it comes to playing games for an extended period of time, trying to play it with a VR headset, no matter how good the technology is, especially in the advanced form it is now in comparison to what everybody was dicking around with back in the late 90s. There are still things that he says that need to be addressed, like comfort of use over extended viewing, issues of nausea, vertigo that come from extended gameplay. Also, is this something that somebody is going to be willing to go ahead and do for an extended period of time, especially considering Miyamoto is known for putting out games that that not only take a long time to play through, but also people play through multiple times. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
If you really love me, won't you? Look, VR is very specific here. If you're gonna do this, especially with Nintendo games, come on, let's think about this. It better be full fucking games. There better be full fucking missions. Could you imagine Zelda in VR? Could you imagine Super Mario in VR?
I couldn't do it.
Especially if you're supposed to be playing hours upon hours to fucking complete the game.
Yeah.
Okay, don't say no to it, but you have. Okay, but would they cheap us out on it? That has specific missions on VR.
There's some problems that's posed with VR. Even now with the Oculus Rift and the PlayStation VR, there's people complaining when they're coming out of it after a long time. They're very disorientated. They have headaches. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that people are throwing up and whatnot, but they have like a serious case of vertigo, and especially for some of these games, like you just mentioned, Zelda, Metroid, Mario, these games that people play hours and hours on end.
What about racing games?
Racing games, yeah. Until they can figure out a way to do VR with extended play, I think, my honest opinion, I think Nintendo should stay out of the VR business, and that's just my opinion.
Plus, I mean, come on. Just as the Reverend mentioned, the VR helmets or goggles or whatever are they're meant for video games, but they have other capabilities with it. That's like with the PlayStation VR. I heard that you can watch your Blu-rays and actually view them from there. Nintendo is just about making fucking video games and video game software and hardware, and they end there. So it's not like they're gonna have like DVD capabilities with their fucking VRs if they come out with VR. But they will just be with games and games only.
Well, one thing that's really killing it for me is that like one thing that Reverend was mentioning was that in previous videos when we did discussions on VR, is that you had to have the proper power, the proper things in order to make VR VR. The system's got to be pretty powerful to do that.
Now wait a minute, they should be their own entities anyway. This kind of feels like add-ons, like a 32X or a Sega CD or something like that. No, or a Jaguar CD where you need the fucking console to have this add-on. This should have been its own entity anyway.
I mean, maybe Nintendo wanted to save face or potential customers by saying, yeah, we are. I mean, I think they're generally interested in VR, but I think if I'm going to
Well, they
paraphrase.
did VR before.
Well, no, what I'm going to say is what I was going to paraphrase from one of the other interviews that they said was that we are very interested in doing VR, but when we do it, we want to do it right. We want to do it where when the technology is capable. You know what I mean?
But they tried that 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, technology has also changed a lot since 20 years ago.
They did Red R. They didn't do VR.
The issue with VR, even with as advanced as technology is right now, is that the problem with the VR is that it's pretty much it puts you in the gaming space, but it's only on a visual level. The thing that throws people off is that you have your sense of balance, your sense of hearing, your sense of smell, your sense of taste, your sense of feel. If you're overloading one particular sense and the other senses are not compensated or also being stimulated in a way to sit there and give you that feeling of actual reality there, that's what throws your body off, really. Okay.
One thing too is that I want to also mention is that Nintendo is a Japanese company. And if you've been in Japan, if you've been in Japanese...
They're not interested in VR.
And if you've been in Japanese houses or Japanese cho.
No.
A Japanese cho can be about as big as this room that we're sitting in.
They can be as big as my room here.
Seriously.
I know. Wait, but I concur with Gray Mouse because we've been there.
And what I'm saying is this, that virtual reality, you need
a big space.
You need room to do things. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. Maybe the people
it's a gaming luxury that a lot of people, even the folks who have money, if they don't have the space, may not be able to enjoy. That's one of the things that we brought up in one of the past videos that we did about the other costs of VR besides the price tag and everything else. But I do think knowing Nintendo and knowing Miyamoto, especially Miyamoto is one of those guys who thinks about designing games and being creative about games from an experience level first. Okay.
Yeah.
Graphics and sound and everything else. Guess what? That's all part of the experience that he's trying to put together. I wouldn't be surprised that he's considered dipping his toe in it, but they're looking at it a very I think at a more practical standpoint.
Well, okay. All right. Kirby VR.
What I'm talking about seriously is that with Oculus Rift and the Vive and everything else, pretty much they're like, oh, hey, we've got this great technology. We don't know what the fuck we're going to do with it. We don't know how it's going to be used, but we're going to make it available to you, the fucking consumer, and we're going to hope publishers are going to go ahead and put something on it that's not porn, that's going to go ahead and prompt you to spend $60 for these titles at a time. And possibly, $40 for season passes and nickel and dime you for microtransactions and $9.99 for expansion DLC packs and other shit like that. Okay, but that's what when Oculus went ahead and put together the Rift, they're like, hey, we've got this great technology. We're gonna make it available for people. We don't know how it's gonna be fucking used, but we're gonna make it available for people. Vive did the same fucking thing. Nintendo is coming in from a standpoint of like, look, we have possible technology that we got to go ahead that we want to make available to people, or we wouldn't mind making available to people. But guess what? There are no clear uses. And that's the difference in the approach here.
I absolutely agree with that. I think Nintendo is like, we have no clear-cut
games
for them.
We have no clear-cut games.
Wait, and that's why I was about to say, before you said that, Kirby in VR, a first-person view Mario, or first-person view Kirby. What you're gonna suck things up in virtual reality. You're gonna control Link in a virtual reality state. Virtual reality is built for first-person type views.
Yeah.
Period. It's not meant for everything from side to side or anything like that. Or okay, the characters in front of you and everything is like but first person view is basically what virtual reality is basically geared on for its success.
I mean, well, one thing too is what we got to realize is that I think I think that Nintendo has the technology and the know-how to do it. It's just you got to put it in and implement, to implement it.
As you said, they have to do it correctly.
Look at the exactly. Look at the 3DS. Nobody thought that you could actually, if you turn the 3D part on that on, and nobody actually thought that you could create a 3D image so close to you, and without glasses, and they did. I mean, if you've played anything in 3DS or on the 3DS in 3D. And you're like, wow, I'm actually seeing, it's real 3D.
For the most part, it only kind of works on Nintendo-based games.
Well, there's the Dragon Quest and a couple other Final Fantasy.
Well, there was Street Fighter 4 on it.
Yeah.
But the great point is, Nintendo, if they were going to have 3D on the Switch, then Nintendo-based games would be only for that, as far as made correctly for their console.
And you could just imagine how much testing went in to the 3DS before it was even released, before even announced to the public. So going through that same thing that we're talking about, I agree with the Reverend. Nintendo does want to dip their toe in the VR world.
Yeah.
But they had the mistake of the, yes, I'm going to say it, the Virtual Boy.
They're going to do this again. They're going to, wait. This is what they're going to do. They're going to dip their toe in VR and then release the whole Virtual Boy library in color for their VR. On Nintendo eShop. Do that shit. If you dip your toe in the VR, re-release every Virtual Boy game in color and put it for your fucking VR device.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, you're stretching it.
Yeah.
But
I may be stretching it, but would Nintendo do such a thing?
I doubt it. For 13 games.
You're lucky there was never a red Zelda.
Yeah, for 13 games, for something that they're going to sit there and have to figure out how it's actually going to display right on Virtual Console. It's a crapshoot. I don't know if they're really going to go out their way and do that. Now, to touch on like I said, their whole thing right now is that we're not going to sit there and we're not going to put this out if there isn't the games to back it up, which is great because guess what? Nintendo's not new to the add-on thing. They saw what the failures of the Sega system with the Sega CD.
So I got a question.
And all of that other stuff.
I got a real quick question. It's relevant, believe it or not. I'm surprised. There. Is that have you really, since the Vive and the Oculus Rift and the PlayStation VR came out, have you heard anybody saying, "Oh man, you've got to play this virtual reality game"? I have not heard anything. It came out. It was like, boom! It came out, and then it just like whimpered away. I have not heard anything.
That's because of what you guys been saying earlier. Games.
That's the point that I'm making.
Games are the most important thing in this game, for this thing, in order for its success to thrive.
I have not heard people,
Yeah, it was hype.
Knocking down the door, saying, "Well, I mean, maybe one game, maybe that Silent Hill game or Resident Evil game."
No, there's actually quite a few VR titles on Steam and everything else.
But are people knocking down the door and like clawing at each other?
Yeah, the problem is right now is that there's just to go ahead and go out of your way and really consider the whole truth of the matter with VR, especially on PC, is that the price of admission is really fucking high for the really diehard players. For the diehard PC gamers.
But you don't hear the diehards talking about it. That's the point. You hear nothing.
There really isn't that killer app where players are going out there.
That's the point that I meant. Yeah.
And they're not trying to go out of their way and convert non-VR players to VR.
To answer your previous question, no. I think Nintendo should stay far away from the VR. It doesn't need that gimmick. It can survive on its own without it. Yes, okay, he did say there's interest in it. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to, they're going to move forward on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my opinion, just a middle-aged guy that lived through the Virtual Boy era.
Any other thoughts, gentlemen, on this particular one? I mean, there's been a lot of interesting things with Nintendo over the last week, but yeah, between the rumors of the Wii U being discontinued on the fourth, definitely on the fourth, or the 3DS being discontinued, or people asking if Nintendo wants to discontinue the 3DS and whether or not VR is going to show up on the Switch. Yeah, there was actually a lot of news relevant to Nintendo. Was there any other thoughts or any other things that we had to throw out into the air?
Nope.
Before we wrap this one up? Nope.
Let's wrap it up.
Yep. I think that'll pretty much bring us to the close of this particular one. Obviously, there's a lot of news. Maybe our views aren't the only ones out there. In fact, they probably aren't. In which case, if you have a view that differs, or if you have comments about what we've had in this video, or if you have any sort of feedback, maybe another question that something we haven't considered, feel free, leave a comment below. We always leave our comments open. We are the middle-aged guys. We bullshit about nothing. Thank you very much for following us up all the way up to the end of this video. If you're so kind, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Our bullshit on all the Nintendo news up to this point ends here. I am the Reverend.
The theme here, Paramount's fun. Once again, for the benefits of common sense logic in gaming. No VR, Nintendo. No, the fucking Wii U isn't done. And the 3DS still going fucking strong. Credits.